you're thinking about. And chat, listen. I ain't never had to fuck nobody to get here. I ain't never sold a dick pic. I ain't never showed my butthole to anybody. Mm, 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 mm.
Has really shaken up this Monk's Corner neighborhood. One resident
Hey,
said
yo.
she was too worried about her children
Big
to come out and
does.
talk with us. And Sheriff
The
MC
beehole.
Cannon says right now he can't offer much comfort.
Listen, I'll say this. I could expose how much for both. All right, honestly, bro, if I had to put a price on it, 500K. Anyways, um, call me Ross. Ross is nice though. You find some steals there. I had this dude who was putting on this big event in Chicago, right? And I forgot what it's called. I still have the Instagram DMs, and he said I could get you on the he's like, do you want to DJ at this event? And I was like, yo, sure, that'd be dope. And he basically said I'd have to like let him suck my dick to get on to like the list of shows. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, nah, bro. Like, what do you think I am, a fucking prostitute?
It was March 3rd, 1989, in Berkeley County, South Carolina.
The fuck, yeah.
5-year-old Justin Turner leaves his home in the early morning, heading in the direction of his
That's
bus
crazy.
stop.
And he was just like, you know, if you change your mind, let me know. I'm just like, brother. Brother. People are sick. Ah! They're gonna pay me? What the fuck? What the fuck? I didn't even care about the money. What the fuck? Chat, I'm bringing everybody with me. Well, maybe not everybody, because that won't go very far in this economy, but still. Ah, what? I didn't know they paid you to DJ. What the fuck? Alright.
Where he was set to meet his neighbors. His stepmother, Megan
A lot of
Turner, who usually
sponsors.
accompanied him, had been busy in the shower, while his father, Victor Turner, was off at work.
Okay, let's start this over. I need to lock in. Dude, I know, Turk. I looked at the set list of the people who are going, and I was like, nah, I won't get, I don't think I'm gonna get anything main stage, but when you DJ, bro, I'm a baby DJ.
Has really shaken up this Monk's Corner neighborhood. One resident said she was too worried about her children to come out and talk with us. And Sheriff...
Bro, listen, I like to do it for fun because you have to get travel, you have to make people happy and have fun and hang out and have experiences. Like I've never been like, all right, you gotta pay me this, you gotta do this, or I'm not like I don't really care about that. I didn't even think I was gonna get paid for this.
MC Cannon says right now he can't offer much comfort.
This is the most disturbing found footage. Congratulations.
It was March 3rd, 1989, in Berkeley County, South Carolina.
Thank you guys.
5-year-old Justin Turner leaves his home in the early morning, heading in the direction of his bus stop, where he was set to meet his neighbors. His stepmother, Megan Turner, who usually accompanied him, had been busy in the shower, while his father, Victor Turner, was off at work, leaving Justin to make this short walk alone. Later on, Megan would wait for the same bus to arrive at the end of the day, only when it did, Justin never got off. In fact, according to the bus driver and the neighbors, he never even made it on the bus in the first place. That night, Justin Turner was reported missing, and the search to find him was underway immediately. It was the third day of the search, March 5th, 1989, that yielded its biggest turnout, with volunteers from the community banding together with law enforcement to help find the young boy, with the group being accompanied by a camera crew from the local Channel 2 station, as everyone shared the same hope that the child would finally be found.
Oh yeah. Okay. Last thing. When we get to the event in January, it's the first time I have people I know there. So we need everyone to record. Make sure you record in landscape so I can make it into a reel. I need people to scream their fucking heads off, throw fucking bras at me, flowers, just freak out like you don't know who I am, or like act like I'm Justin Bieber in like 2018.
And so they were off, with many searchers directing their focus on the nearby woods, while others, including Justin's own family, would search closer to the property as well as its neighboring land. This included rummaging around.
Literally just bring a bunch of bras in your pocketbook. There's gonna be more bras than people in the building.
Various sheds and piles of trash, as they were made to leave no stone unturned that day, with everyone geared up for a long, grueling day of searching.
I'll even put one on.
Though in the end,
I got you, Pen.
all they needed.
Bro, Pen's got some jugs. I'm gonna be like, damn! That's above my fucking fireplace that I don't have.
It was a few minutes.
Sharpies are there. Sign some bobs. Don't do that.
My son's in there.
Nathan, that's
No camera, no camera. Where is he at? Where is he at?
in there. I don't know yet.
The code.
With the cameras rolling, we see the moment that Victor Turner discovered his own
Ain't
son
that big.
stuffed inside an old cabinet
Prove it.
in his own camper, with his reaction making one thing very apparent. Justin was no longer alive.
Oh
The
shit.
footage is devastating and made worse upon the discovery that not only was Justin dead, but he had been brutally assaulted and murdered by strangulation. But there was something even more unsettling about this
You think there's a code lock on the
fact
back,
that
Jason?
very camper had already been searched in the days prior, and likely numerous times. Yet somehow Justin's body was never found, meaning that whoever the killer was may have hidden him there days after the disappearance.
The latest word about the boy's
Looking
grim
for a
fate
friend.
has really shaken up this Monk's Corner neighborhood.
I got
They
some
were
big
clearly dealing
jugs.
with an incredibly dangerous and deranged individual, and tracking down whoever was responsible became law enforcement's
Submit a
area's
ticket.
top priority. Though this certainly didn't mean that results were guaranteed, as there was a severe lack of physical evidence found on the scene, making it incredibly difficult to find any definitive information as to who might have done this. And despite their best
I got
efforts,
like some C's. C cup. Happy New Year's!
a full year passed, and then two,
They jiggle when I run. A little bit. A lower.
then a full
Fuck
decade
off.
passed, then two, and then three.
Let's just say I got an uppercase big
From the
D.
start, Justin Turner's case was ice cold.
Make up for it.
And in the end, it seemed clear that it would remain this way forever. Until...
Breaking news this afternoon out of Berkeley County, as the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office has made 2 arrests in the Justin Turner case.
The Berkeley County Sheriff's Office confirms that yesterday they arrested Justin's father, Victor Lee Turner, and his stepmother, Megan Renee Turner, in the upstate, both charged with murder.
35 long years after Justin
Interesting.
Turner's body was discovered,
B for sure.
it would be the very man who found him that was charged for his murder, along with his wife and Justin's stepmother.
Not him acting.
This supposedly came as a result of improved forensic technology, as well as other information that had previously been unreported, like one account where his stepmother Megan had been overheard talking about how she and Justin had gotten into a fight that very morning, with the woman eventually laughing about it, and saying, "But I won that fight." From the very beginning, Megan was always considered a suspect in this case. In fact, she had even already been arrested for his death at one point in 1990, but was swiftly released on account of a lack of physical evidence. And this lack of physical evidence is
I don't even
still a
know
factor
what bra
to this
sizes
day,
mean, to be
as the
honest.
recent arrest of this couple hinged mainly on circumstantial evidence, with one of the key pieces
Given all
being
titties
that
deserve
news
love,
footage.
chat. All sizes.
Investigators pointed out a number of strange moments in
You
Victor's
don't go to a
behaviors
buffet and just
actions
get one
that day
thing.
when they went back and reviewed the recording, with the most glaring being that he had found his son literally seconds into the search, entering that camper and going right for the drawer that he was hidden in, almost as if he knew where to look. And given that he owned the property and he owned the camper, it makes more sense as to how Justin's body could have seemingly just appeared there, as he and his wife were the ones who had the easiest access to it. On
Some
top of
wise
this, upon
words.
finding Justin,
Mac and
Victor
cheese.
didn't rush in to check on his
Sometimes
condition,
you get more
and he
than
seemed to
one
just
thing than
assume he was
another,
dead,
based
despite
on
only
preference.
getting a quick glance. He didn't rush to hold him, he didn't yell out to him, he just backed away and told those around him that he had found his son. Shortly after, it's alleged that Victor asked the detective on the scene what would happen if a family member had done this, with this question supposedly being posed before it was even revealed that Justin had been murdered. The sheriff on the case later proclaimed about the footage, "You look at it, you look at the actions, you look at the body language. I'll let the people draw their own conclusion." On top of this, the same sheriff also recalled that right after the body was found, Victor and Megan basically refused to ever speak to detectives again, and they never once called in to check on the case for the entire 35 years.
That's
with the sheriff
suspicious.
saying, "Nobody that I'm aware of from any of the family has ever heard from them again. I never got
Nah, it
one phone
hasn't
call.
changed
Not
yet."
one phone call from his daddy or his stepmother. What are y'all doing about my son's death? Not one." What does that tell you? Watching the moments that Victor found his son's body, now knowing the context, disturbing doesn't even begin to describe it.
That's
and the
crazy.
fact that it took 35 years for this couple to finally be placed behind bars is baffling. But things were about to get a whole lot more shocking.
Oh my God.
We requested that the charges against Megan and Vic be dismissed. We were very fortunate today that we got a copy of the order from the judge dismissing the charges against both Megan and Vic.
What the fuck?
As on June 7th, 2024, months after their arrest, Victor and Megan were released from prison.
That guy had too much
all charges
flavor to be
against them
owned.
were dropped, with the judge citing a lack of any new conclusive physical evidence, as well as the fact that nearly 20 people who were initially involved in the case, including witnesses and those who initially provided key testimony, had since perished, with the judge believing that it was now impossible to get the full story. On top of this, it was also discovered soon after the arrest, a notorious serial killer just so happened to be in the area on the day of Justin's murder. His name was Richard Evanitz, and though it's unknown how many victims he truly has, it appears that at least 4 kidnappings and 3 slayings have been attributed to him, with some of these victims being taken in broad daylight when they were getting off the bus. Richard has long since passed away, and there's really no verifiable links to prove his involvement with this crime, with this potentially being just a strange coincidence, as it is worth noting that it seems like the rest of Justin's family still believe that Victor and Megan had killed him. But all of this left the case in a position that the judge felt was unsolvable, leaving the case without conclusion and without justice.
That's crazy.
Meaning that in this footage, we may never truly know if Victor had just discovered his son, or his victim.
The 3-day search is over, but not in a way anyone wanted to see.
Yeah, I love Nick Crowley's videos. I remember we binge watched them all within like a week, and he finally dropped a new one.
Recently, I discovered something truly distressing. I was being double charged for Netflix. It turns out that I was paying for an older
it's an ad.
I just saved this. So go to rocketmoney.com/Crowley
He
or
got
use
us
that link in the
good.
description to get started today for free.
Come on, Nick, don't do me like that. Wow.
George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were going on a camping trip.
From the start.
This is a beautiful spot to set up camp, George. George turned around and saw something scary. It was a thin trail of smoke.
There seems to be something innately interesting about survival shows. For decades,
I
audiences
love
have been
Naked and
enamored by
Afraid
depictions of
shit.
people pushing themselves to the limit in order to
Netflix
survive
and
harsh
chill.
and almost inhumane
Netflix and
conditions.
Double Charge.
Most notably, and one of the more tame examples, is Survivor, which
Double
no doubt
Charge.
popularized the genre, as it isn't just a staple of television in the US, but all the other countries that have since created their own versions of the show.
I wish we could watch
In
Naked
France,
and
the show
Afraid
is
on
called
stream.
Koh-Lanta, and was created back in
France?
2001 by the company Adventureline Productions, or ALP for short. And by
Naked
the year
and Afraid?
2015, the show was one of the most popular in its market, having seen 13 successful seasons. And so, riding the high of this impressive
Well,
feat,
basically, having clothes, you can make a lot of things from clothes. Everything is blurred. Yeah, it'd still be too risky for Twitch TOS. Like, everything is, like, your clothes protect you a lot from the elements, from heat, from bugs, from this, from that. So it's literally bare survival. You show up with literally nothing. With another stranger, which adds another dynamic, because we're not used to being naked around strangers. So there's, like, a social dynamic, like, you should see how badly they get fucked up from bugs and insects and sunburn and shit.
ALP decided to try their hand at a new show, one that was far more daring.
Hur fasen ska detta gå?
Hell no. Like, you guys know what chiggers are? Like CHIGERS. They're like these little worms. Like they're flies. They land on you and they lay their babies on you, and then like a little worm will burrow into your skin about so far deep. They cause an insane amount of pain and this. I remember one lady had to tap out and go home because she literally had 90% of her body infested with chiggers, and it was like fucking her up, bro. During the summer, yeah, it's crazy because they dropped them at the Madagascar and they slept on the beach, and literally like Like, I remember, like, the aftermath, like, it flashed back, and it took them, like, 3 days to remove them all from her body.
The show was called Dropped.
Like, doctors with tweezers just pushing, picking, pulling the worm out.
Into an undisclosed...
And the worms also can come with parasites and lead to crazy, like, yellow fever and disease and all kinds of stuff.
Location each week via helicopter, with each team having the same mission: make it to civilization, charge
life.
a phone, and make a rescue call. And the first team to do so would win, while the losing party would have to vote one member off.
They were in her face, they were inside it. Bro, they were inside her coochie.
But it also already had a proof of concept, as there was actually an identical show being made in Sweden at the time that was already well received. Though Dropped wanted to turn up the interest even more, and that's exactly what they did when they announced that the cast would be composed solely of famous athletes, most of whom turned out to be...
Like, bro, I remember this one guy, he was, like, building a shelter, and he was, like stepping on, like, this tree with, like, this branch, probably, like, this thick, and he was trying to break the branch, and the branch broke, and his left leg went down, and his right leg stayed up on, like, the piece of branch that's still attached to the tree, and he sliced his dick. And he was like an ex-Marine. He's like, I'm not going home. Bring in the medic. And he got stitches in his ball sack. When you said that, oh hell no, oh my god, what the fuck? Yeah, bro, it sliced his nutsack open.
To be French Olympians who were already well beloved in the country. It had all the makings of a certain success.
Just put me down.
Though in the end, this show would never actually make it to television, with the showrunners proclaiming that the program would... not see the light of day. And this was all thanks to the events of March 9th, 2015. It was the start of their second episode. The first had seen the elimination of professional footballer Sylvain Wiltord, after his team failed to make it out of the wilderness first, which left 7 contestants who were now ready for round 2. The day's shoot began in La Rioja, Argentina, with the cast being blindfolded in preparation to be loaded up into their helicopters and dropped at their next location. Olympic gold medal...
Hey man, you see that electric eel? That one's just...
Yeah.
It was this guy right here.
1,500 volts to my body! Ah!
It was that guy right there, bro. He's fucking crazy. He was like a Marine, and he got his balls sliced open. I tried to Google naked and afraid ball stitches, and I couldn't find a video for it, but... Yeah, it was that guy.
Swimmer Alan Bernard was one of
the first to
step onto the craft, but was quickly told to exit,
I would die.
as his team had been the first to be dropped in the last episode, meaning that to make it fair, it was time for the other group to go first, thus giving them slightly more time, and so he stepped off the craft and waited with his group, as the other team instead loaded in. There were 2 helicopters on the scene. One was set to carry 3 contestants, Florence Attu, Samil Mouffe,
I missed you too, welcome in.
and Alexis Vastine. Along with a crew member
Already
and one
talking
pilot.
shit. Pussies.
Meanwhile, the other craft was strictly for the crew,
They
holding
hating.
4 production workers as well as a single pilot, with Alan Bernard and his group staying on the ground with their backs turned to the craft, as they eagerly anticipated the return of those helicopters to then take them. And so with their blindfolds on in the pitch darkness, the team listened, as they heard the sounds of the crew cheering on a successful takeoff, though the cheering would be cut short by an awful sound.
No
the
way.
Sound of crushing metal.
Deep feeling. Did someone walk into the helicopter or did it crash? Blindfolded around a helicopter is terrifying. Oh, the helicopter crashed. Bro, that's why I would never get in a helicopter. Those things are not reliable.
The aftermath was recorded on the cell phone of someone standing nearby,
Video got me
showing us a large group of people
Wake your ass up!
towards a massive plume of smoke.
I mean, it's like people dying. EP. If you're going down. The body of it. I remember I saw a video on Twitter, and when we pulled out of Afghanistan, we apparently left like 50 Black Hawk helicopters. The United States did, and there's this video of these. They had 3 of them, and they were trying to fly them in a rotation over the capital for the celebration, the Taliban, of like running America out or whatever, and they crashed into each other, and then like fell into the crowd of people and like killed a bunch of people. Because like the Taliban pilots did not
where
operate
they would find
or
the
something.
remains of one of the aircrafts, mangled and reduced to an unrecognizable mass of steel, with none of the contestants being able to make sense of what had just happened.
My favorite.
It's very possible that the incident itself was captured by the production's own cameras. However, this footage has never and likely will never be released. Though coincidentally, they weren't the only ones recording, as someone watching nearby just so happened to be filming the takeoff of these 2 crafts, showing us the reality of what had just transpired.
Oh damn! Both of them went down. They ran into each other.
Just as the 2 aircrafts had taken to the sky, the second and lowest helicopter began rapidly ascending, with the pilot seemingly failing to realize that the other craft was directly above them, causing the 2 to collide.
Yeah, mine's
and then
burnt
plummet
as
to the
fuck
ground
too,
below.
but I don't want to buy one before my plane trip, because I gotta buy one when I get to NC, so I'm gonna buy one, get on a plane, I have to buy another one.
In the end, 10 people went into the sky, and none made it down alive.
I gotta wait.
The footage makes little sense even today. The weather was perfect. The crafts were some of the
That's
best in
why
the world.
I'm
and
alternating
both of the pilots
out
not only had
these
30+ years
3
of flying
burnt
experience,
Nick
but they were
sticks.
both flight instructors themselves. Not to mention that the show's security coordinator, who was in charge of facilitating the takeoff, had actually worked on the Swedish version of the show and had ample experience in this exact situation. And yet, this is how it ended.
So real. Listen, after January, I'm quitting Nick. Like after the show and I get back, quitting nicotine.
It was eventually determined that the
I get on
higher
the
helicopter
bus.
was likely flying out of visual contact from the lower helicopter,
Get on the bus.
and that
See
the
if they'll let
pilot
you
of the ascending
drive.
chopper likely just didn't realize how close they were, with
Hate
reports
these
also indicating.
ads. Listen guys, you can subscribe and not only support the streamer, but view the stream ad-free. Ad-free for a whole month. And also get great perks. Get great perks. Percocets. Molly Percocet. And you get emotes. And emojis.
Indicating that he may have been distracted by the actual filming process, something we've tragically seen before.
You get to feed a hungry streamer. In the arms of an angel.
And because of this, it appeared that at least some pilot error was to blame. But it was ALP that was found largely responsible, with alleged serious safety oversights being discovered later on, with it appearing that this crash was the result of multiple small factors coming together to form one catastrophic accident. After the incident, Dropped was swiftly cancelled, while the team that had so narrowly avoided getting on that flight and in turn likely having perished themselves were left in complete and utter shock, forever changed by the accident.
Damn.
With Alan Bernard, the man that's said to have been physically on that doomed craft for a split second, later recounting that there was a life before and after Dropped, because you don't come out of such an accident unscathed. In the end, AOP was indicted on manslaughter charges and found to be an inexcusable fault for the disaster, though it doesn't really seem like they faced any sort of actual legal punishment, with the company continuing their work on other programs to this day.
You're submissive.
But one thing that I was surprised to find in my research was that AOP is actually no stranger to the world of disturbing television moments. In fact, they had experienced one just a single year before this accident.
Oh god. I'm big hungry.
As mentioned previously, AOP was
dick.
already quite versed in the world of survival television, as they had run 13 successful seasons of Koh Lanta. Though what I failed to mention is that the company had actually produced 14 seasons.
Trying to date me? What
or
are
at
you
least
doing?
they attempted to.
Bitch!
It was season 13, during
Gotta
the very
have my
first day
money.
of filming, when contestant Jara Baban collapsed after the show's second challenge,
How about you
with the show
construct
continuing
me a
to film as
sandwich?
if nothing happened. Anonymous reports from the set claim that once on the ground, it took the medical team nearly 5 minutes before intervening, as to not interrupt the recording, and once they eventually did tend to him, he became more alert and complained of having severe cramps. But the show's primary doctor, Terry Costa, didn't believe that his ailments required an emergency airlift, as this would have cost the production company far too much money, especially on the first day of filming. Instead, Gerard was diagnosed with dehydration and was brought back to their makeshift infirmary, where he would lay for nearly 2 full hours, until he was finally taken away by a proper medical team.
He works construction
on his way off the island, Gerard Bobbin would pass away from cardiac arrest,
like blue-collar workers.
25. Cardiac arrest that was completely missed by the show's doctors.
You like it spicy? I love spicy.
The testimony from those on the scene painted ALP and Dr. Costa in an extremely negative light, as their inability to act quickly and recognize the ailments of Baban likely contributed to the young man losing his life, with some claiming that the doctor and the showrunners were far more interested.
Nah, blue-collar workers are the shit. Now, I would say construction workers like have like a weird attitude. They're like, I build homes. You have soft hands. I work 85 hours a week. Why are you complaining? Shut the fuck up. Get a real job. And that's like kind of cringe. I'm like, listen, bro, chill. Chill. I don't have to break my back to make money. You know what I mean? I don't have to put nails and wood together. But I do respect hard workers. Work 19 hours. I cough dipping my sushi in it. I can handle wasabi. Get a nice snack. Listen, chat. Send is spicy. I'm a spicy white boy. Spicy, light-skinned white boy.
The production running smoothly, than actually caring for the young man.
Well, hey.
And though ALP denied any wrongdoing, the season would essentially be cancelled right there on the spot. But disturbingly, despite the filming lasting only 1 day, Baban's death wasn't the only tragedy to occur as a result. Due to intense public ridicule, Dr. Terry Costa went his life just days later, stating that all
2 helicopter crashes, 1 dead contestant, and then the fucking doctor on the scene ended his life.
Negative news reports about him were wrong.
Those bunions are barking on Ellie.
Writing in a final note, I'm sure that I treated Gerard in a respectable manner, as a patient and not as a contestant, adding, having to reconstruct this destroyed reputation would be unbearable, before ending his letter with a message to those on the shoot.
Chat. Not only am I going to be doing possibly like 99% certain once I get everything set up, South by Southwest, Austin City Limits, which is another music festival in October. Damn, I'm going to be in Texas hella this year. Damn.
That had spoken out against him. The author of the anonymous comments about the circumstances of Gerard Baban's death, and those who spread them, will have to face their conscience.
Oh yeah, my birthday's in October.
Kolnata would return a year later and has been going strong ever since, as ALP did not appear to face any serious repercussions for the incidents that transpired under their watch. With their fault in both cases being debated.
Bro, I would deadass stay with you, but they said, hey, you want a hotel room? You know, I mean, shit. Chat. Who wants to come stay in my hotel room?
Hey.
Hotel, motel, holiday Inn. I'm at the hotel, motel, holiday Inn. Man, it's so fun. Yeah, Austin City Limits. That's what he called it. He said ACL, and I was like, excuse me, what does that mean? I was like, you did what to your ACL?
It's July 5th, 1993, in downtown Sao Paulo, Brazil. A doorman working at a busy office building looks up to the sky and notices a woman sitting on top of the structure, her legs dangling 7 stories above the pavement below, one wrong move away from certain death.
Bro, I don't feel real right now. I don't feel like a real human. I don't feel like I deserve any of this. I don't know what the fuck I did. Like, holy fuck. Like, I just be playing video games in my room. You are elated? I thought you said you are related. 1 or 2 ways. Me beating your ass. Listen, someone bring a Wii. I'll unplug in the Wii. You're an alien. I'd be a crime if I didn't. You're a real boy. Blessings. Listen, I'll say this, chat, and I'll be 100% honest. This is my 4th year doing like social media like full time, right? Before I kind of just did it. I can bring adult Uno. Bro, I saw this crazy like sex card game like on TikTok. Like they're like all these like sexual cards, like you gotta like do things like you gotta like pass cards with your lips. You gotta like pretend to give someone head and like all this crazy shit. And if you don't, you gotta take a shot. And I was like, damn, that looks fun. Oh yeah. But nah, that's what I was gonna say. So like the first 3 years of me streaming, like I said, this has been no, my first 2 years because I just finished. I'm going into 4 years. So like of just doing internet in general is like a full-time thing. I mean, I still had like a job for the first 2 years. I only like stopped working like this past 2024. I didn't have. I literally just was able to do it off social media. But like I was very like, of course it was me, like I was being myself, but a lot of myself I hid, and I had so many walls up, and like I would like do things that I thought like a streamer or content creator would do or this or this. And then 2024, I like the end of 2023, I just was going through so much in 2023. Like it was 2023 was like a rough year for me. And I was like I changed a lot. I started trying to get sober and I got out of some bad relationships and bad friendships and I cut a lot of people off who were negative in my life. And I was just like I'm just going to be as real and genuine as I can. And all of 2024, I put myself out there, like not just part of me, the fun part and the exciting part. Like you guys saw my ups, my downs, the laughs, the tears, just everything. And I just put my full dick into it. I opened up my whole life, and it really has opened so many opportunities. It like made me so many more friendships. I got closer with so many more people like you guys. Like I never ever thought would be possible, and like I was like afraid to show certain sides of myself and be honest about certain things. I was like, what, fuck it. They don't like me or don't accept me for this, then like they're just not meant to be in my life. And it has brought so many more people in my life, like actual good people, people I can call family, people I can call friends. And it's fucking crazy, bro. It's actually fucking crazy. And like I guess like I have a big regret. God, Smith is horny tonight. Bro, Smith, go beat your meat real quick, bro. Go beat your meat and get some post-nut clarity. What? And I found you again. I know, Smith. And like it's been amazing, bro. It's been amazing. What up, Lambo? Bro, Lambo is in North Carolina this weekend when he should be next weekend. That fucking sucks, bro.
Precisely what she wanted. The man calls the police immediately, though surprisingly, they wouldn't be the first on the scene, and instead, they were beaten by a camera crew. The group was from the show Akiagara, a news program from the network SBC.
And shout out motherfucking Jason. Jason was in the very first ever stream. The first time I ever hit live on Twitch, Jason Shadow Critter 360 was there, and he's been there ever since. Literally not flaked on me, not disappeared. He's always been here one way or another. So shout out Shadow Critter. No, bro, you need it. He's always shown me love, always gamed with me, always been an amazing part of this community. He always says he's lurking. Stop. I don't have a lurk bot for a reason. But I'm broke. I understand, Lambo. Listen, we still love you, bro. So, for free.
That had become notorious for their sensationalized and shocking stories. In their history, they had captured live footage of police riots, kidnappings, and even murders, which they would then broadcast on air as part of their show. And this unfolding situation was their content for the day.
Nós fomos ver o que estava acontecendo. E quando nós chegamos ao local, o corpo de bombeiros chegou, os bombeiros chegaram junto conosco. O que é um suicídio? Onde? Nós vimos junto. Um boibeiro olhou pra cima, tava lá a menina, sentada no parapeito. E eu tomei um susto, a câmera olhou também, nós tomamos um susto.
His phone switched hands, he's like, alright.
Her name was Daniele Alves, and at the age of just 16, she had entered that office building and climbed up to its roof with the hopes of ending her life. And minutes after Akiagara arrived, she did just that. as their cameras captured
Frosty.
É terrível. Daqui a pouco aqui agora vai mostrar as imagens chocantes de uma jovem pulando para a morte. Atenção, são imagens exclusivas que não recomendamos para crianças nem para pessoas sensíveis.
Later that night,
I've
that
always
footage
streamed
would
for
be
a hot
packaged
minute,
together
like
into a
2-4
roughly
hours
10-minute
after I started.
segment, which the network promoted heavily throughout the day, hyping it up to be one of their most shocking
When I first started streaming, I had a full-time job, so it was a little harder. But I would stream for 2 hours. I'm like, all right, guys, we got a long stream tonight. 4 hours. Woo! 4-hour stream is lit.
episodes ever. And supposedly it was, as though it appears that the full
Bro, we
segment is
love
currently
you.
lost.
That's
the footage
why.
of Daniele's fall was said to have been displayed almost entirely in full,
Long for me.
showing the moments just before and just after she
6
had landed,
hours don't feel long enough.
where she was said to be still somewhat alive. It was more than shocking, and left viewers outraged that something of this nature could be shown on TV.
I love
but while
streaming,
showing
bro.
the footage proved highly controversial enough, it was the context surrounding the footage that made it even more depraved. As mentioned previously, police were called to the scene to assist in efforts to help Daniele Alves. Yet the first to arrive was that Aki Agora news crew. And this wasn't a coincidence. They were all about capturing events as they unfolded. And in order to be the first on the scene, they actually tapped into the police scanners, monitoring all of the calls and information being passed through officers in order to get leads on potential stories. Which is how they got word of this incident, hearing the calls and speeding over as quickly as possible.
That's what I like.
It wasn't illegal per se, but it surely wasn't ethical either. And this was only the start. After Daniele jumped, the crew that had filmed her had already captured their dramatic footage for the day. And as the officers and medical personnel dealt with the aftermath, the crew decided to turn their focus to the next element of their story: Daniele's parents. They packed up their equipment right away and headed straight for the home of Daniele's mother and father, with it being unclear how they even got that address in the first place.
That's crazy.
And there, they once again had
They filmed the daughter doing a sewer slide off a building, then they drove straight to the parents' house to get the reaction.
beaten the police, who were still back at the scene trying to piece everything together. Though rather than waiting for them, the crew instead decided to take the lead, going up to the door, ringing the doorbell, and telling Daniele's parents that their daughter had just passed away. The crew then supposedly took the parents to the police station, consoling them all while their cameras kept rolling, as the crying parents made for the perfect footage for their segment. Exploitative is the only word for it, but what they did next, well, that was something far more evil.
Fucked.
Having
It gets
dropped the parents
worse.
off at the police station, the crew then got to work creating their
We go
segment for the
shower,
night, and as
sweaty
part of
off.
it, they needed to find a reason as to why Daniele did this. They first theorized that this was likely due to a drug addiction, which had somehow spiraled and led to her jumping. But then they
Now
decided
Umi's going to get off in the shower and come back.
that just wasn't dramatic enough, and they instead shifted
See you
to a
soon.
different story, one that they reported to all of their
Gonna
viewers
beat
as
my
if
meat.
it were a fact.
Gonna
They
beat my
reported
meat.
that Daniele Alves had ended her own life because of her abusive parents,
Holy
placing the entire
fuck!
blame on the family that they had just supposedly helped. And there was one massive issue with this. It wasn't even true. The claim appears to have been quite literally based on nothing. It has no verifiable backing and seems to have been a complete guess. In fact, just days later, Daniele's best friend spoke out and said that Daniele had done this because of a broken heart, not because of drugs or any sort of abuse.
Beware
It's
of a
sickening,
girl with a
as the
broken
crew
heart.
cared so little about Daniele's own story that they seemingly just made up their own. And imagine
Not
for a
too
moment
much.
being those parents, going about your day when a TV crew comes to your house and tells you that your daughter is dead. And despite consoling you, those same people then broadcast your daughter's death for the whole world to see and blame you for it. Naturally, this didn't go without repercussions for Aki Agora, who had crossed the line in the most soulless way
welcome in,
possible,
Frosty.
and the effects were swift and powerful, as the rating soared 33%, making it more popular than ever before.
That's fucked.
The network would end up being sued by Daniele's family, who was eventually awarded $1 million as a result. But realistically, no amount of money could ever be enough, as the show's actions permanently affected that family and destroyed their grieving process in a way that I can't even wrap my mind around. But this did little to slow down Aki Agora, as they remained on the air for 4 more long years, during which they leaned even more into these unfolding crime stories, leading to them witnessing numerous other deaths, and even being taken hostage themselves on multiple occasions. And the more I researched this topic, the more insane the segments I found became, with by far the worst being an old episode where they recorded a man who was threatening to jump off a bridge. It was a very similar situation to Daniele, though this time the crew was much closer. So close, in fact, that the host actually moved in and started interviewing the man as he was hanging there. All the while, they kept cutting back and forth to another camera angle below
That's
the bridge,
crazy.
ready to capture his fall at any moment. Now, thankfully, this person was pulled to safety, but even as he was being taken away, the presenter still kept trying to interview him in one of the most surreal scenes that I've ever seen in my life.
That's insane.
With this situation perfectly encapsulating this show. Akiagara would continue on air until the year 1997, when one day the show was pulled due to its declining ratings, and in its place, the network would instead begin airing.
It's because the molecules in semen don't bond with water, and they dry up the hydrogen. I'm kidding, I don't fucking know.
The Disney Club.
Bill Nye the Silence Guy. Bill.
And there is a train coming toward you. What do you think?
Science was sin. Should I Google that?
It was an exciting day for the crew of the upcoming movie Midnight Rider, the Greg Allman story. Years had been spent planning and scripting for this biographical film about Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers. And this day, February 20th, 2016, would be the day that they would finally start filming.
I know a lot about exercise
It was
science.
nothing more than a camera test, a day in which the crew would practice
Mitochondria
filming, as well as
is the
getting acquainted
powerhouse
to their
of the
equipment
cell.
and new co-workers. But for the group of 20, the excitement in
Join
the
the
air was
piss
palpable,
cord.
as they were given access to a stunning piece of land in Nahunta, Georgia. So stunning, in fact, that the film's director,
Why?
Randall Miller, just
sure.
couldn't wait to begin the actual process
Why
of filming.
does semen
Slicing through the property
react?
was an old railroad that had crossed over a scenic bridge raised high above the
I typed in why does semen react? I was gonna do weird like to water, and it says why does semen make women react? What the fuck does that mean? Ah, the water washes away the lesser populated semen. Basically, the proteins in semen is the only thing left over, and it balls up because it bonds with the water and it rinses the rest away, which is like the natural lubricant. Spermin has a negative buoyancy, so the semen releases to the bottom, and the proteins in the semen bond with the water and ball up. Protein. You're saying there's protein in semen? Maybe these gay guys are onto something. Someone say protein? I love protein.
The perfect location for a shot that Miller had been envisioning. It was set to be a dream sequence where Allman's character would wake
How much
up on
protein is it in one nut, though? Let's just. God, my mom texted me while I said that. I'm sorry, Mom. How much protein in one cum? One nut. Semen. Okay. There can be between 500 to 250 milligrams of protein in one orgasm. That's a lot of nuts to get a couple grams. How many milligrams are in a gram? Milligrams in a gram. 1,000? Bro, my fucking mouth would get sore. My arms would get sore. Holy fuck. So 2 nuts is 1 gram of protein. So 20 grams of protein is about how much your body can ingest within like one sitting. So you need 20 grams of protein. How many nuts is that? Okay. 2 nuts is 1 gram. Okay. Okay. $40 nuts? Chat. You'd have to get 40 nuts to get 20 grams of protein. Can do attitude. God damn, you're gonna tear the skin. It'd probably be from different people because sometimes if you nut too much, nothing comes out. Weak as hell. That's light work. That's a weekend for Umi. God damn. It's another Monday. 40 nuts!
Hospital bed in the middle of the tracks and see a vision of his brother. And it was a shot that Miller just had to have. However, there was one major issue.
Night.
The crew was given permission to film on the property, but not the actual railway,
Up on
as this was owned
Grand,
by a separate company named CSX. And when Miller asked them for permission to film the shot, he was denied multiple times, as these tracks were still very active, making it far too dangerous.
Damn.
But being on location and seeing that bridge, Miller couldn't help himself.
Make me a protein drink.
So he directed his crew
Listen,
to set up
chat.
the scene anyway.
Let's just say you've built up nut for months. How much nut can you build up? It doesn't build up. The body can only hold up to 2 ounces per day. And if you don't use it, it's excreted. Excreted? 2 ounces of nut a day? Bro, hell nah. I've had some crazy ass nuts. Let me be honest. Like, okay, I'll stop. Maybe I'm too honest.
Believing that they could
Where's it
quickly
go?
steal a shot
It's
without
excreted.
anyone noticing. Miller had supposedly done his research too, and
2
discovered that
ounces
only
is not
2
a
trains
lot.
were set to roll through the area that day, and he knew the general intervals in which they were supposed to pass. Based on this, he figured that those trains wouldn't arrive for a few hours, giving them more than enough time to film
Spider-Man.
the first scene.
I literally am.
And so they quickly set everything up,
I'm Gooner, man.
rolling out a metal hospital bed and placing it towards the center of the bridge, with Miller assuring his crew that this was in fact safe, and that they had nothing to worry
Evaporated?
about, as the camera began to roll. Minutes later, the bed began to shake, and the silence around them was shattered by the sound of a whistle.
Damn.
Before them was an unexpected third train, heading straight for the bridge that the entire crew was now on. Miller had gotten the schedule wrong. At this point, the crew
You had
was
one
filming a
job,
considerable
bro.
distance into the bridge, but the shortest and really only route to safety was to go towards the oncoming train, and so that's
Yo.
precisely the route they took. And as they did so, there was little panic within the group, as rather than rushing to safety, they all seemed more focused on retrieving their equipment, believing that they had more than enough time to salvage everything. As after all, losing this expensive equipment on day one
Good job,
would have been
Smith.
devastating for the production.
Listen, chat, that was science.
They likely had no idea that from the sound of
Biology.
that first whistle, they had just 60 seconds until the train would cross that bridge, whether they were off it or not.
Biology.
As they began to realize just how quickly the train was approaching, their movements became more hurried, which is where one major problem occurred. That metal hospital bed. It was incredibly heavy on its own, and though it was designed to roll, its wheels kept getting caught on the tracks. And worst of all, it was set up horizontally, which essentially turned it into a barricade.
Damn.
Despite their best efforts to save everything, their time was up, and as the camera continued rolling, the train would arrive.
Like we're watching this while we're talking about nuts while people are dying. True
At
Southerner.
this moment, the
It's
train
kinda
itself
crazy.
also had a camera rolling, which showed that even in those final moments, the crew was still trying to salvage their equipment. What happened
Damn.
next was a blur. Some were able to leap to safety, while others managed to jump to the side and cling onto the bridge. But there was still one thing that remained in the train's path. That hospital bed, which, upon impact, was torn to pieces. Pieces that were flung all over the area, striking multiple crew members and leaving many injured.
Damn.
It was 27-year-old filming assistant Sarah Jones, who was struck by the largest fragment, with a force so strong that it caused her to fall directly in front of the train. In total, 7 crew members were hurt but alive, while Sarah Jones had tragically been killed.
Damn.
On the very first day of production, in the very first shot, the unthinkable had happened. And when it came to passing the blame, most turned their attention to Randall Miller, as he was the one who ordered the scene to be shot despite being denied permission numerous times. And this public disdain towards him only grew, as he and his production company denied any
Terrific.
responsibility, and instead, they blamed the railway company. Just 1 week after the incident, Randall Miller requested a new permit to begin filming Knight Rider once again, asking if they can begin as soon as possible.
That's crazy.
This, however, would never actually happen, as he was instead arrested and given a 1-year prison sentence for manslaughter, as well as a 10-year ban from directing any films, a mandate that he would actually go on to break, though he was swiftly forgiven, and today he continues to direct. But while it's easy to focus on the morbid nature of this case and the man responsible for it, there was one unexpected outcome of this horrific accident. Upon her passing, Sarah Jones' parents set up a foundation called Safety for Sarah, which pushed for safer working conditions on film sets, with the movement bringing to light a number of safety concerns that were often brushed aside and ignored. And all in all, their efforts have made TV and film sets significantly safer, giving their daughter a purpose even after
that's
her
good.
death.
I like that.
On top of this, Sarah Jones was also honored by countless production companies across the world, as crews began writing her name on their film slates, with there ultimately being over 2,000 of these tributes for her, from some of the world's most well-known productions. But by far the biggest tribute was when she was honored at that year's Academy Awards ceremony, a stage that she always dreamed of making it to.
Aww.
When you saw her name up on the screen at the Academy Awards, what were your feelings?
Overwhelming.
She made it to the Academy.
That's awesome. Don't worry,
I want to give one last quick.
I got something wholesome to follow this up.